What we also learned in 2024 is that these single agents are not enough because we want to have focus. We want to make sure that one of these can focus on one thing. Because what we learned is we don't have AGI yet. So we said, okay, why not divide and conquer? So we created multi-agents where we divide these agents and let them focus on some agent focus on one thing and then other agent focus on other things. And then we introduced something called orchestration, which is the planning agent or your reason agent. And it comes up with a plan and it figures out who to call and then checks if the work is done. If not, then calls the next one. What are the examples? Everything that you're seeing today in motion, becoming this multi-billion company, is behind the scenes a multi-agent system. Lovable is a multi-agent system. Cursor is a multi-agent system. Gemini. What skills you need to succeed in this agentic AI? Agentic AI, anybody would have told you, you would have read it. But what skills do you need to succeed here in agentic AI? First thing you need is, and I'm just talking about the specific skills for agentic AI. Obviously, you need all the other product manager skills and others, but you need to know how to write awesome prompts to work with these machines. That's your bare minimum table stakes. Where are PM failing the most today? They're not able to articulate. So this is one problem I've seen consistently, where PM will say broadly, let's build an agent which automate legal workflows. But they don't say which legal workflow, how many sub-agents. Today's session is very theoretical. It's not like technical session like we did last three. So what does it take to become an agentic AI PM today? I will be lending some of the cool ideas that I have learned all along. By the way, if you're here for the first time, I'm Mahesh. I have worked in AI for the last 10, 15 years. I built the first large-scale training platform for Facebook. Then I moved to AWS. I built Bedrock agents for Bedrock. That was my project. That was the first framework to build agents. And after that, I went to Google and actually shipped agents for Google's back office, where we automated support, and we were going after legal and finance next to build a platform where anybody can build the agents on top of it to automate their workflows. So that's my history with agents. And now I have left Google and I'm here every Friday. And I'm also building my own thing, which allowing people outside Google and big companies to also automate their workflow of back office, starting with legal. I will share more on that in a couple of coming weeks. But for today, that's pretty much all. So this is the agenda today. I will talk about a short history of AI development. That's what I'm going to land, because if we land that correctly, then I can land other ideas. Today will be a more touch-up session. Again, it's not, we're not going to go deep in everything, because we're going to land a lot of things.
Quick question, like I know, like you're not going deep into session, but if someone who's looking to transition into a PM AI, how is that depth enough, or do you would really recommend that on our own, like we try going deeper, because it's a really wide space. So that's why just
I will tell you like what it takes, and then I will tell you what skills are needed, and what you need to avoid, or when you say that, okay, I'm ready, and you are not ready. Those are the things I will tell you should avoid. And I will give you a few hints, how can you acquire these skills? And then one last thing is what going to be next in agents. Okay, before we know, there is a lot of buzz in the world. What is AI? What is Gen AI? What is agentic AI? Let me give you more confusion, or let me try to clear that confusion with what I think is agentic AI. So let me give you a short history of AI to agentic AI. I mean, basically, we as humans are the most inefficient uh, uh, species on Earth. We consume a lot of energy to survive, and we take more resources than any other species, and we produce so much back. But when we use technology, I think Steve Jobs said it, a human with a bicycle is the most efficient uh, person. This is my bicycle, by the way. And you can't see anything. So that's the bicycle. So a human is the most inefficient, but human plus bicycle is the most efficient species that planet Earth has created. Same way, we are trying to figure out since then how to use machines to do these jobs, or build more tools or build technology which makes us more efficient as humans. So that's the hypothesis. And in that, few things has happened 60 or 75 years ago when we actually started to program. We started doing directed graphs. So 75 ago, what we used to do is we have this simple, if this happens, then do this, then do this. These are directed graphs. Everything you coded before in like if you were 75 years, that if you have machines and if you want to program these machines or these chips, you needed directed graphs. Then 20, 25 years ago, what happened is, eh, even before that, let's say 40 years, 40, 45 years ago, we started having C++ or object-oriented programming, and we started having directed acyclic graph. So I can put some, if this happens, then you can loop, then else. If this happens, then you can do a while, these two checks, and then go somewhere else, then go somewhere else. So they were still directed graphs. Somebody need to hard code these things, but you can put some acyclicity inside this. We call them DAG or direct acyclic graphs. This is pretty much everything with these two we have coded in the world. So all the machines you are seeing today, whether they are ATM, whether they are aeroplanes, whether they are the rockets that are launched to Mars, they use only two programming methods to program those chips. Those are either direct graphs or direct acyclic graphs. Another thing that happened, let's say 10, 15 years ago, is we started putting machine learning in it. So what we started doing is, okay, if this happens, then there is some AI that can also summarize something. And then there is another AI which can classify if this is a cat or a dog. And if cat, then do this. If dog, then do this. And these blocks were AI blocks. I'm just going to make them as some squares. And then we also had our traditional cyclic, acyclic. Our DAG systems were still there, right? But we introduced this new idea. And this is the world you have seen 10 to 15 years ago. Then what happened is just 2 years ago, and somebody need to hard code them, right? And this flow, if it works, it it is hard coded flow. If you set it once, you can say that summarize and put classification, maybe one or many classifications, but you still need to hard code these graphs. And some developer need to program what happens if this happens, then that happens, then that happens. And then they can put loops or they can put different paths and they can call this one as machine learning block. Somebody need to program these and they are hard coded. 2 years ago, first time in human history, we are introducing something called agents. And with these agents, what we are saying is, hey, you don't code anything. You tell this what you want to this agent, and this agent has access to these blocks, which can be where to get the knowledge, my personal APIs, which updates my databases, my Q&A systems. And you just give me all these blocks. And as you give me a task, I will, not a human hard codes this agent will say, hey, this can be answered by just knowledge, and let me just make this happen. This thing I will make happen at the runtime. I will use knowledge, I will use Q&A, and I will respond. And I will put some checks, and I will make sure this I can create at runtime. This is the first time any flow that can do that, where a human is not calling these blocks or not hard coding them or not putting everything that you have programmed or you have available to you, which is your documentation, your tools, and your custom things that you want. Nobody's calling them. You're just telling this agent that these things are available. Based on your task, based on the assignment, the agent goes ahead and does that. This is agentic AI. This is getting into production. So let me give you a little bit more detail. I hope you could follow me along. So let's see how it actually played with time. So first, if you wanted to do machine learning models, you needed to provide an input and somebody need to handcraft this model. These are PhD people, which did two things. They converted the data into some useful features And then they build a prediction model, which said this is a cat or dog. And then you did model assessment. Then we introduced shallow machine learning. This is neural networks. So now a human need not to build this model. This is automated. You just tell me how many layers, how many neurons, and I can build some prediction system. Automatically, the machines do that. Okay, still everything else is open. Then we said deep learning, and deep learning crafted this handcrafted feature engineering also is automated. So now you just tell me data and I will figure out which feature are important. If you give me text, I can figure out what the next word in that text would be. And that's automated. So your transformers, your convolutional neural networks, your recurrent neural networks, all are examples of this block where I have figured out what is important in this data first, and then I created the model to predict. And this is what a modern ray transformer will look like. And then what we did is we converted this and trained this thing on everything that we could see on internet or all the books or all the encyclopedia. And we created something called LLM or a foundation model. So now you can just prompt it. You need not to even bring a lot of data. You can just tell me what to do and I can do it. I have all the world's information. I'm trained on everything in the world. I am further trained to follow your instructions, and you can prompt and do things with me. This is single Gen AI or an AI which you can prompt. This is ChatGPT without tools. But then what we did is we took this model. So this is your large language model, and we connected it to your world. We added your signals. We gave it tools, and we gave it guardrails. And then we said, go launch in the world, which I talked here. Right. So it has all these tools. And then it said, okay, if I have it, you just ask me anything, and I will pick the right tools, right knowledge, right signal based on the query you're going to ask. And I will design this whole workflow at runtime when you ask me these questions, not when somebody else has hard coded it. This has unlocked a new paradigm for all of us to do much more things with the same things we have available, because you need not to hard code anything. And now user can make these 5 or 7 or 20 tools that you give it, and it can do maybe 2,000 things for 2 million people. That's what's possible. But if you're going to do it, what we also learned in 2024 is that these single agents are not enough, because we want to have focus. We want to make sure that one of these can focus on one thing. Because what we learned is we don't have AGI yet. So we said, okay, why not divide and conquer? So we created multi-agents where we divide these agents and let them focus on some agent focus on one thing, and then other agent focus on other things. And then we introduce something called orchestration, which is the planning agent or your reason agent. And it comes up with the plan, and it figures out who to call, and then checks if the work is done. If not, then calls the next one, next one, next one. Good. So this is a multi-agent architecture. You as a user give a job, it goes to the orchestration. The orchestration decide, is the job done? If done, it just gives the answer. It's not done, it calls the agent, which it thinks is the right agent for this job. It can also bring human in loop. It can say, I need more information, so can you just tell me? And then it continues. And each agent's update a memory, and on that orchestration gets another call and says, okay, maybe I need to change the plan. Maybe this is not the right agent I called. Let me try again with a different agent. And this loop goes on and on behind the scenes till it gets your job done. What are the examples? Everything that you're seeing today in motion, becoming this multi-billion company, is behind the scenes a multi-agent system. Lovable is a multi-agent system. Cursor is a multi-agent system. Gemini and ChatGPT. If you have seen this agent mode in ChatGPT, you can just try it. So right now, if you take ChatGPT and say agent mode, that's what it will do. It will go and it will plan based on your example. So you can just come here and see this agent mode in action. You can just describe, compile UNESCO data education for ratio, or build a discounted cash flow model for NVDA, compile spreadsheet, give me create a list of Google map, or best Copenhagen bakeries. Let's do that. You can give it a task. And as you give it a task, you see that it is setting up a desktop. First, it goes and figures out a machine where it will run this system. And it says, hey, Copen, next 4 months, 4 days, and want to eat at many good bakeries as I can. Can you please research what are the best bakeries in the city? Then create a new saved list of Google Maps with them. For each, can you add a note of most popular area that I could get there to? So now it's searching the web. So now it has created a plan. The plan is first I will go search the bakeries where I will check Yelp, Traverse, Instagram, and now it says I will reopen. Now it will go and open these pages, find their maps. Now it is telling me what problems it has got. And then it's going to open these websites where it's getting page not found on some of them. The original site is blocked due to cookie gating. I'm open for the next result where to find the best this. And it will continue on this path. So this is an agent in action. It has tools like web browsing. It has tools like a planning agent. It has tools like a caching agent. It has tools like a search agent. And it's calling all of them to get this job done for you, which is finding awesome bakeries. And when it is failing, it's recovering by itself. It's going, it tried those links, it didn't get anything. So now in the memory, it's saying, okay, job is not done. Let's do it again. Let's create a new plan. Maybe these websites are cool, but they're not allowing me to access their content. Let me just go and do it again with more other websites, which may not be the top website, but still I will have the information. So now it's doing for other ones. And it will continue till the job is done. That's the world you're living. That's in nutshell what is agentic AI. Hopefully all of you can try it on your world. Okay. Now we have a common understanding of what agentic AI means. Let's go to the next stage. What skills you need to succeed in this agentic AI? Agentic AI, anybody would have told you, you would have read it. But what skills do you need to succeed here in agentic AI? Obviously, you can get this form and you can subscribe to our newsletter. That's the main skill you need. Every other skill is just moot. Just subscribe to this form. My team puts these, by the way. First thing you need is, and I'm just talking about the specific skills for agentic AI. Obviously, you need all the other product manager skills and others, but you need to know how to write awesome prompts to work with these machines. That's your minimum, bare minimum table stakes. Because if you can't do that, you cannot articulate, you cannot check the limitations, and you cannot give correct requirements to your new teams which are working in AI. They expect the product manager to write the prompts, or at least tell them what are the requirements to write the prompts. I have added a resource here which I found cool. This is from Prompt Engineering Guides from OpenAI. And here they talk about what a good prompt should have. It should have your identity, instructions, some example, and context. That brings us to the second piece that you need to succeed, which is you need to understand those four pillars. What is knowledge and how knowledge works? What are the tools? What is the API you will need to build any agent that you're building for the customers? So this is how a multi-agent system, they explained here how Anthropic built this. And I liked it because they put a lot of diagrams. So this is exactly, you send a request for doing a research. This has access to search tool, the model context protocol tools, memory, run subs agent. Remember I showed you in ChatGPT? Similarly, and then it's calling these sub agents. It also shows the flow. By the way, people are expecting you to write these in your PIDs now. If you're building multi-agent system, it says that show me one workflow, how you want us to design the system. So that's the another one. And then the last thing you need to know is you need to know how you're going to evaluate these for quality, but also for oversight and responsible AI. So you know how to talk to these agents. You can test these things. You can specify different requirement across knowledge tools and APIs, and then you can define evaluations for components that are in your agents and end-to-end value that your agent is adding to customers. If you have these three skills, I think nobody can stop you getting into AI, whether you have the engineering background or no. But if you don't have these three, no matter how good engineering background you have, you are not going to succeed. Maybe you will get a job, but you're not going to succeed at that job. And you will build something that nobody will use. Where are PM failings? failing the most today. They're not able to articulate. So this is one problem I've seen consistently, where PM will say broaderly, let's build an agent which automate legal workflows. But they don't say which legal workflow, how many sub agents this legal workflow will need, and what each sub agent will do, what each sub agent knowledge sources are, and tools it will use are. If you cannot do that for an idea, I think you're not going to succeed. And that's what people are going to test in their interviews. They will give you a problem and ask you, hey, show me a customer journey. And for each step, tell me which agents will I need. And for they will pick one agent and say, hey, tell me which knowledge sources this agent will use, or which tools will you connect to it. Another problem that I have seen is that another pattern I have seen is that people build such an easy problems on their projects when they give me CVs or when I look at their projects. They're so easy that ChatGPT could do it, which is I build this thing which is drafts a legal contract. Okay, what a legal contract? It drafts NDAs. Second kind of ideas that I have seen when I talk to people, like when say, hey, if I give you a choice, what will you do? And they're like, I'm going to build an agent which will automate or like solve cancer. I'm building an agent for cancer research. I'm like, okay, the dude has no clarity. Like, they don't know what are the limitations. Cancer is like, we are trying the best of human minds are trying to solve that problem for a while. And he thinks it's just an agent and a prompt. So that's out. So either you're playing so low or you're playing so far away that I can't play with you or I can't put you in my team because you are there. You're not there yet. And if you talk about something like I built this in agents or I did this in agents or I know this in an agent, my next question is how you evaluated it? And mostly people will say, oh, I tested it. And if that's your answer, then you're out also, because if you tested it, that doesn't help. I want to see what were your metrics, how you defined a different domain, what was a helpful agent look like, what was an honest agent look like, how you reduced the harmlessness, how you looked at the responsible AI. We had a framework. I put that video. Please follow that framework and go in detail. Tell me the challenges you faced in evaluation. And if you're not going to talk about those things, you're not going to succeed in this field again. And that's where I think these are the three things to avoid for agentic AI. Okay, then how can you acquire these skills? Again, here is the perfect place. Most of the people this is our course, by the way. This is the best sales pitch ever. Obviously, it's very hard to acquire these skills. So I put up like good 8 weeks into designing a course which allows you to cover everything from left to right and give you enough things to go succeed in this field. It's not easy. And to be honest, hopefully, it's really hard to find time and do these things as these courses. Believe me, it's true. But still, I promise that I will continue to do these. By the way, you can also join our next session, which is about how to crack AI vibe coding interviews. By the way, I really wanted to give you how can you acquire these skills. So these are the 3 tips. You need not to join our course, by the way. But here are the 3 tips which takes you how can you acquire these skills. First, identify anything that's repeated and hard problems in your current role and solve them with AI. And if you can't solve them, use our community. There are a lot of experts. There are like 1,000 people who have taken the course now. They have all the resources and they will help you. Just bring the right use cases and start iterating today. There are a lot of people ready to teach you these things on YouTube, everywhere. You can use our Slack community. Somebody will place a link and it's free. So you can join it. Second thing, have your domain expertise, like Amir was talking about. Figure out, Amir, what is there in telecom and what companies are getting funded for AI in telecom. And then find out patterns of what is working, what is not working in your particular domain. And then take what you have done in your first projects and start helping these companies. And they're ready to take your help because you are a free resource. Say, I'm going to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I will help you. You will learn a lot, or you can start your own company. You have the domain expertise. And a lot of people in our cohort have done that. I know at least 17 people who have gone ahead and actually launched and have customers now. While doing that, also learn the evaluation framework and start evaluating companies, start evaluating agents. Everybody is launching an agent every day and they are giving you a free access to it. Why can't you evaluate that and build that evaluation muscle? So if you do these three things, you need not to do any course. The courses are there to help you get to these three things faster. What's coming next? What next in agentic AI? I've always said we want to do things which is on the edge. So one thing that's new or that's going to come a lot in 2026 is audio powered agents. Audio was not working. It was very slow. The latency of audio, handling audio or real voice interactions were very slow. In 2024, with even GPT-4, the models were really confusing if you need to plan. Because when you talk, the model need to reason fast and come up with new things faster. That was not working. It has started working now in 2025. And there are tons of use cases where there are call centers just doing verification, just calling people and saying, hey, can you deliver this packet at this point right now in next 10 minutes or not? All these things will be automated. Everything that's in a call center is a ripe for automation because the company already said, I don't want to do it. And they are paying a lot of money to get it done somewhere outside US, UK, or anywhere else. So that's a big opportunity. And if you can find that use case, focus on that. Second thing, you will see a lot of simulations, a lot of things where people will be able to run a lot of things in simulation, like running A/B test for any product that you build. There will be products which will be able to simulate those things. And the last thing there is that we have seen only agents that are designing and running things but are not learning from each and every experience. We have seen some of the latest breakthroughs in reinforcement learning. Finally, you actually can learn from each and every interaction you are having with your customers or each and every interaction you are running with your agents. And having that loop in your agents will be essential as you get into 2026, 2027. So investing in these three things, if you're already ahead of the game, would be the right investment of your time if you're getting into agentic AI. By the way, my name is Mahesh. This was a touch on a lot of broad things on what it takes to become an AIPM. We talked about what an agentic AI is. We talked about what are the skills needed. We also discussed how can you acquire those skills. And then I gave you quick tips on what next. Obviously, we could spend a lot of time together on this, but I wanted to land what it takes and give you resources. All the links are attached to the slides. The slides are always there with you. So hopefully you can use them.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Take care.
Bye. Happy weekend.